Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Stotra His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Thank you. So today we'll be reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12. The title of the chapter is Devotion Service, which is the essence of the entire Bhagavad Gita. Yes, so we'll be reading text 13 and 14. It's on page number 522. Yeah, you can repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So thank you for being here. I seek the blessings of Srila Prabhupada and all the parampara and from all of you, so that we can discuss and learn something from Bhagavad Gita today. So we'll do the Sanskrit verse. So I will read one part of the verse, and all of you can repeat, and then in that way we'll complete the verse. So I think all of you are able to be on that page number 522, chapter 12, verses 13-14. Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukha kshami santushta satatam yogi yatatma drida nischayah mayi arpita mano buddhir yo mad bhakta same priyah. Yeah, anyone wants to repeat? You want to? Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitraha karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankara samadukha sukha kshami santushta satatam yogi yatatma drida nischayah mayi arpita mano buddhir yo mad bhakta same priyah. Anyone else wants to chant the verse? You want to try? No. All right, then we'll read with the translation. One who is not envious but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Coming again to the point of pure devotional service, the Lord is describing the transcendental qualifications of a pure devotee in these two verses. A pure devotee is never disturbed in any circumstances, nor is he envious of anyone, nor does a devotee become his enemy's enemy. He thinks, this person is acting as my enemy due to my own past misdeeds, so it is better to suffer than to protest. In Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10:14-8, it is stated, tate nukampāṁ su-samīkṣamāṇo bhuñjāna evātma-kṛtaṁ vipākam. Whenever a devotee is in distress or has fallen into difficulty, he thinks that it is Lord's mercy upon him. He thinks, thanks to my past misdeeds, I should suffer far, far greater than I am suffering now. So it is by the mercy of the Supreme Lord that I am not getting all the punishment I am due. I am just getting a little by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he is always calm, quiet, and patient despite many distressful conditions. A devotee is also always kind to everyone, even to his enemy. Nirmama means that a devotee does not attach much importance to pains and troubles pertaining to the body, because he knows perfectly well that he is not the material body. He does not identify with the body, therefore he is freed from the conception of the false ego and is equipoised in happiness and distress. He is tolerant and he is satisfied with whatever comes by the grace of the Supreme Lord. He does not endeavor much to achieve something with great difficulty. Therefore, he is always joyful. He is a completely perfect mystic because he is fixed in the instructions received from the spiritual master, and because his senses are controlled, he is determined. He is not swayed by false arguments, because no one can lead him from the fixed determination of devotional service. He is fully conscious that Krishna is the eternal Lord, so no one can disturb him. All these qualifications enable him to fix his mind and intelligence entirely on the Supreme Lord. Such a standard of devotional service is undoubtedly very rare, but a devotee becomes situated in that stage by following the regulative principles of devotional service. Furthermore, the Lord says that such a devotee is very dear to him, for the Lord is always pleased with all of his activities in full Krishna consciousness. Yes, so this chapter is titled Devotional Service, right? So here Krishna is describing to Arjuna what are the qualities of a person who is in full Krishna consciousness. See, I'll just repeat the translation again. One who is not envious but a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself the proprietor and is free from the false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled and engaged in devotional service with determination. His mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. Right? But we are trying to understand that how we can have these qualities, right? How we do so many activities in our day-to-day life, and if we perform if we put any endeavor and if it doesn't go our way, we immediately become disturbed, right? That's a natural tendency, right? And we are always anxious when we are in danger, when we perceive danger, right? Or else if we are elated, or when we have our own definition of success is fulfilled, we are happy. So we keep shifting, meaning our feelings change, our consciousness gets swayed by how things are happening around us, right? But Prabhupada is here explaining the qualities of a pure devotee who is absorbed in devotional service to Krishna. So primarily it means that he is having a deeper perspective of reality. You know, why are we having a perception of danger, right? Because we are not aware, or we are not sure how we will be in that situation if that situation unfolds, right? Is there any other thing which you think, is there any other reason why we feel danger? Do you have any thoughts?
Well, you rightfully said the perception that there is oncoming danger, then our emotions get swayed in that direction. But it might be only a perception, it's not the reality.
Right.
So once we are seated in the consciousness, in the pure consciousness of Krishna, that fear is reduced.
Right.
Even taken away.
Right.
So even in danger, we should not react. We should maintain an equilibrium, a calmness, situated in God. That's my contribution to that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else wants to say or have their point on why we perceive a situation to be danger? All right. Right? But here, Prabhupada is describing that all of these qualities are automatically achieved if one is is aligned with Krishna or with God, right? If you are in deep absorption in the perception of Krishna and his seva, right? Then then we have a deeper sense of reality, and one can easily understand that how this world operates, right? How there is always this waves of happiness and distress which is just happening. How we are not in control. We only have a small desire, and there are resources which are provided to us from all aspects, from our teachers, from our parents, right, from nature, and ultimately from God. How everything is happening under the jurisdiction of God, right? And so by being conscious of this reality and being absorbed in this reality, right, we see things as they are, right? And so even though events unfold, we may be slightly disturbed, but because that person is fixed in his determination to perform devotional service, right, he is not swayed away, right? Because he knows, after all, everything is happening by the will of the Lord. I have to perform my duty without being attached, and whatever is happening is ultimately good for everyone if everyone sees that in a right perspective, and everyone performs their individual duties, right? This particular as soon as I read this particular verse, I was reminded of the story of Maharaj Amrish in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, I encourage all of you to read the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 4. This describes the story of Maharaj Amrish. Right. So I will briefly read the translations from this particular section of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, because Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam helps us to understand Bhagavad Gita in a much deeper way. Because Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is basically incidents from the history describing about the Lord and his interaction with his devotees, right? How the devotees led their individual lives, right? So Bhagavad Gita is, in one way, is like a short summary, right? It's like very, very condensed, right? But then if you want to understand how to apply these principles, or how others have applied these principles, then we get a better sense or deeper understanding, right? So I'll just read some verses from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 4. Sukadeva Goswami said, Maharaja Ambarisha, the most fortunate personality, achieved the rule of the entire world, consisting of 7 islands, and achieved inexhaustible, unlimited opulence and prosperity on earth. Although such a position is rarely obtained, Maharaja Ambarisha did not care for it all, for he knew very well that all such opulence is material. Like that which is imagined in a dream, such opulence will ultimately be destroyed. The king knew that any non-devotees who attain such opulences merges increasingly into the into material nature's mode of darkness. Maharaj Ambrish was a great devotee of the personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, and of the saintly persons who are Lord's devotees. Because of this devotion, he thought of the entire universe as being as insignificant as a piece of stone. I also read this famous verse from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Savaimana Krishna padara vindayor vachamsi vaikunta ghunanu varnane karau harer mandiram marjanadisu srutim chakarachyuta sadghatod dhaye. Maharaj Ambarisha always engaged his mind in meditating upon the lotus feet of Krishna, his words in describing the glories of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the Lord's temple, and his ears in hearing the words spoken by Krishna or about Krishna. He engaged his eyes in seeing the deity of Krishna, Krishna's temples and Krishna's places like Mathura and Vrindavan. He engaged his sense of touch in touching the bodies of the Lord's devotees. He engaged his sense of smell in smelling the fragrance of a tulsi offered to the Lord. And he engaged his tongue in tasting the Lord's prasada. He engaged his legs in walking to the holy places and temples of the Lord, his head in bowing down before the Lord, and all his desires in serving the Lord 24 hours a day. Indeed, Maharaj Ambarisha never desired anything for his own sense gratification. He engaged all his senses in devotional service, in various engagements related to the Lord. In this way, to increase attachment for the Lord and to be completely free from all material desires. Right? So I'll briefly describe the story of this king. So this king Ambarisha, as we briefly read, he was a king of this entire universe at that time. So he has, as part of being a king, he had a tremendous amount of wealth, right? Because he has to put everything in place. He needs to ensure that his citizens are taken care of. So he had authority over a huge collection of people, and he had administration, right? Armies, right? But in spite of all of that, right, he was never attached to all of them. So he considered all of these assets as a means to serve the people and to ultimately please Krishna, right? So he identified that he is given that particular role that he has to play, right? And so he performed his duty without any attachment and offering all the results of his activities to the Supreme Lord, right? So as a result, the Lord is so pleased with him that he basically provides him the protection of Sudarshana Chakra, right? So I think all of you are aware that Lord Vishnu has 4 symbols, right, in his 4 hands: Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma, right? So this particular devotee, by seeing this sincere devotee who was 24 hours engaged in the service of the Lord, right, the Lord was pleased with him and he offered him protection, right, of this Sudarshan Chakra, right? So on a particular occasion, he was actually performing Ekadasi Vrata for an entire year, meaning that in that particular, as I understand, for the entire year, on every Ekadasi, he was performing the Ekadasi Vrata fast, and on this particular day, he was in Vrindavan. He was in Vrindavan along the river Yamuna, and he was along with his wife and his few of his ministers, and he was performing this Ekadasi Vrata, and it was so now he was about to break his Ekadasi fast, which was happening on Dwadasi, right? When he was about to break the fast, Durvasa Muni comes to his place. So when Ambarisha, he sees Durvasa Muni, he gladly welcomes him, because it is an etiquette, it's a social etiquette that being a king, he needs to honor a Brahmana, right? I think all of you are aware of Durvasa Muni, right? He is a Brahmana, but a very angry Brahmana, right? He was known for his short temperament, right? So Ambarisha performs his duty as being a king. He welcomes Durvasa Muni, and then he requests that you can also come along with us and break the fast, and we can have the feast. And then Durvasa Muni says, okay, I will go to the Yamuna river and I'll take bath and I'll come back, right? So he goes to the Yamuna river, but then here the time to break the fast is almost approaching, and Durvasa is still not coming back. So now this king is in a fix. He doesn't know how to respond, meaning that because he has to think about multiple aspects, right? Because on one aspect, right, if you have any guest, especially a Brahmana, a respected Brahmana, right, the host should not take prasada without first honoring or first providing it to the Brahmana, right? So that was one point which was with the king thinking about. But on the other aspect, right, he cannot wait indefinitely and allow that time to pass, right? Then he will not be able to complete his vrata, right? So then the king, right, he took consultation from all of his ministers and his priests, and then he made a decision that he is going to just drink some water, right? Because drinking water is like breaking the fast and also not breaking the fast. So he thought that in that way he'll satisfy both by completing the vrata and also still continue to honor the guest. So he made a decision. So so one may argue in multiple ways whether his decision is right or wrong, right? But because he was practicing spirituality all throughout his life, right? We all of us also will face in our day-to-day life, like at some point in time, right? We have to make the call on our own, right? No one will be around us saying that, oh no, you have to do this, you have to do this, right? Based on our experience and based on our perceptions and everything, at at a point in life, you have to make a decision, right? And you need to stick to it and stand by it, and you have to execute it, right?
Yes.
No one will say, because everybody is on their own, if you argue, right? So the king, right, using his intelligence and all his past experience of, performing his spiritual activities and offering puja, as we read, right? He was always absorbed in serving the Lord. He thought that this is the best way to move ahead at this point in time, right? So he drank water, and then he waited until Dhurvasa came back. Now, Dhurvasa is having a mystic power, right? When he comes back, he understands that the king has broken his fast by sipping water, right? And he immediately becomes angry. He says that you are aware of this, but still you have not, followed the etiquette. So he loses control of himself. He becomes too angry, and then he plucks out his hair. And because at those times, right, they were, I think even in nowadays, if you find, you might find some mystic people in the Himalayas or somewhere who have like strong siddhis, where they have some supernatural powers. They get by doing a lot of tapasya and all of that. So this particular, at this particular incident, Dhurvasa Muni, being a short-tempered Brahmana, right, he created a demon from his hair. So he chanted a few mantras and from his hair, and he threw it on the ground, and he recited a few mantras, and through that invocation, he basically created a demon. Kricha, I think he's called Krucha. The demon's name is Krucha. So he created the demon to attack Ambarisha, right? But we'll read this nice translation, right? We'll read this nice translation. So taking a trident in his hand and making the surface of earth tremble with his footsteps, that blazing creature came before Maharaj Ambarisha. But the king, upon seeing him, was not at all disturbed, and he did not move even slightly from his position. So, right, this actually shows the caliber of Ambarisha, right? Because he was always absorbed in serving the Lord, right? When there was danger, apparent danger on him, right, he was not disturbed. So I think this is a quality that all of us have to aspire and try to develop, right? Right? Some people have very wrong expectations. They think that if they come to God or they come to spirituality, they will not have any problems in life. It's a very wrong conception, right? Because this world is, it is mentioned at every step is of uncertainty and danger for everyone, right? So we should not have wrong expectations, thinking that, oh, because I am coming to temple every day, or I am doing puja at my home every day, I will not have any challenge in life, or right? So challenges are for everyone, but the advantage with spiritually minded people or people who are advanced in spirituality is that they are in a better position to handle that. Right? So here we find that Ambarisha was not disturbed. I mean, if I was there as a demon right here, I'll be running away. Right? But Ambarisha was not like that. He stood on his ground. Right? So it shows that, he is empowered. He is having that spiritual realization, and he is able to face the challenge. Right? हाँ? Yeah, yes. I'm just trying to wrap it up. Yes. Right? So then, now, as soon as the demon is created, right, then the chakra, which was in the surrounding of this king, right, he immediately comes and he kills the demon, right? So we should always be confident, right, and we should have trust that if you perform your duty and to the best of our abilities and continue to serve the Lord, then we are always protected, right? So this chakra immediately chopped off the head of the demon, right? And then not only that, this chakra even went after Durvasa Muni. And so Durvasa Muni he didn't know what to do. So he was afraid now, you see. So he was the one who created this demon on Ambarisha. Ambarisha was not afraid, right? But when he saw the chakra coming after him, he knew that is the chakra of Vishnu. And so he is running for his life. So he is like, he's trying to escape it. And and first he goes to the upper planets, thinking that if he goes to Brahmaloka, he can be somehow saved. But no, the chakra is still following him. And then eventually he takes consultation from many people. They say that we can't help, it's the chakra of Vishnu, right? And then he even approaches Lord Narayana in Vaikuntha. And he says that no, even I don't have control of the chakra. He says that because this devotee is such a great personality and you have offended him, right? Even I don't have control of this chakra. So Durvasa Muni is so afraid, right? So then, right, he comes back to Ambarisha, who was still standing there. And he didn't still accept any food. He was still waiting patiently, right, through all of this, right? And then he comes, Durvasa apologizes. Only then the chakra stops, threatening him, right? So I encourage all of you to, I also have to completely read this story of Maharaj Ambarish. It's so beautifully narrated by Sukadeva Goswami and presented by Srila Prabhupada in this Bhagavatam. Right, I'll wrap it up in a couple of minutes. So now, right, as practicing sadhakas or people who are interested in spirituality, right? So what do we learn from all of this, right? So we need to firstly understand and appreciate the great blessing of devotional service, right? Many times it happens that many people, if they face any unpleasant circumstances, right? First thing they do is stop doing any more devotional service. It hurts their ego, saying that, what is this? I've been trying to invest my time to serve the Lord, and the Lord is not helping me. I'm not going to do anymore. I'm not going to the temple anymore, right? So that is the attitude some of people have. So firstly, that is why we need to appreciate and value the great blessing of devotional service, right? And we need to continue to perform our duties in all aspects, both spiritually and materially, and we need to develop trust in Krishna, right? So people say nowadays, right, everybody's mind is so disturbed, pandemic and everything it actually wreaked havoc, right, in our lives, right? Right? But then what is the solution? The solution is trust in Krishna. Trust in something eternal gives us peace of mind, right? Things are always agitating. Things are always changing, evolving, right? But then how do you remain peaceful, right? We can remain peaceful only if we're connected to something or somebody who is eternal, who is all, helping us all throughout, both within and without, right? And then, thirdly, we see every challenge as an opportunity to grow, right? It's not that, okay, I have a problem and now we cry, saying that, oh no, I don't want to face this problem, right? See it in a positive light, right? See it as an opportunity to grow, how to develop our character even more further and deepen our connection with Guru and Krishna, right? See as this opportunity as this challenge as an opportunity to interact more with the sadhus, understand more about spirituality, and seeking, okay, this is a challenge I have, okay, let me explore what solutions spiritual life and Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam provide us, right? Seeing that as an opportunity to grow in life, right? And also taking consultation from senior Vaishnavas, right? That is also very crucial, because although we may try to read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam on our own, it is not always possible that you can come up with a solution practically which you can apply. You also need consultation, right? As in any particular science, we need teachers in our lives, right? So we can see this opportunity or these challenges as an opportunity to deepen our connection and our relationship with these teachers and also with Krishna, right? And then, as Ambarisha has done, make the best possible decision we can make, and then move ahead, learn from these opportunities, right? And hopefully, by performing these kinds of activities and continuing to perform devotional service day to day in our life, increasing our realizations slowly, we can also, in one particular day, achieve these characteristics of Ambarisha, which Srila Prabhupada has described in the translation and in the purport. Thank you.
Selection of shloka is always good.